Hi, I'm Sharissa Dorn. I'm going to share with you some reading strategies today. And the first one that I'm going to share with you is called Facts and Fibs. This strategy is in the book Strategies to Engage the Mind of the Learner by Rachel Billmeyer. And the reason I chose this strategy because in Common Core Standards for English Language Arts, it requires building knowledge through content-rich information. It also requires reading, writing, and speaking grounded in evidence from text and literary and informational texts. And this strategy offers ways to use informational or literary texts to enhance students' learning. A little bit about facts and fibs. Well, the purpose is that students can learn information about each other. One of the reasons I picked this strategy is that it is the new school year is approaching, and this is a great one for students to get to know each other. It also helps develop a risk-taking environment, and it really engages and energizes a group immediately, and they really enjoy learning about each other. I'm going to model this strategy with you. What you need to do first is come up with 2 facts and a fib. So I'm going to share mine with you. My first one that I'd like to share is I love to read. My second one is I don't remember the last time that I read an adult book for fun. And the third statement that I chose is I learned to read in first grade. So now the question is, what statement is the fib? Well, you have to think about it. Ask yourself why, and why do you think that? How do you know? Well, my fib is actually, I don't remember the last time I read an adult book for fun. I actually do remember. The last time I read a book for fun was about a year ago on a plane ride on the way back from Hawaii. So I actually got to read an entire book, which was fantastic. So with your students, you would have your students create your 2 factual statements and their fib about themselves at the beginning of the year. If you chose to do it on content, if you're doing it with another book, you could do that also. You can do this strategy with large or small groups. At the beginning of the school year, it's fun to do it as a whole group, so that way you can share everyone's information. Students take turns sharing their 3 statements, while others decide which is the fib. And this is always fun. When you don't know all your classmates, it's a good way to get to know them. You want to discuss the decision-making process they used to determine which statements were fibs. So, how did you figure it out? Why did you think that? At the end of the lesson, you want to have students share what they learned about each other. It's a good way to reflect and think about what you learned. Here I have in front of me a place where you could write these facts down at the beginning of the year. This little example right here, actually, I found at Target in their dollar bin. So this is a strategy that's been around for a while. You can choose to write it, or if you just want to talk about it, that's fine too. If you choose to write it, this is a great place to do that. So that's the 2 truths and a fib. If you're looking for other examples, there's other graphic organizers for this lesson on Teachers Pay Teachers if you're looking for other examples. Another way that you can use this lesson is at the end of a unit of study. With a group of students, we had been reading about sharks, and that's a unit that I do every year with my class. But this summer, I actually had a small group of students, and we read the story Sharks. So I wanted to model how you could use this strategy, facts and fibs, with this book or after a unit of study. So I'm going to show you what they did to complete this strategy. Here we have Dylan. He's 6 years old, and he took 2 facts that he learned and came up with a fib on this paper. And here, Dylan wrote, blob sharks eat blob fish. That was his first sentence. His second sentence was, mako sharks can go up to 20 miles per hour. And his third sentence was, mako sharks are the fastest sharks in the world. And we read the sentences together, and I'm going to show you our other friends who also did the same project with us. This is Collins. He's 7 years old. Mako sharks live in a fry. Mako sharks can go 20 miles per hour, and sharks eat fish. So that was what he came up with for his facts and fibs, and we'll go over that in just a little bit, which ones were their fibs, and we'll talk more about that together here in a minute. Here we have Wayne. He's 10 years old. Here are his sentences. And Anadora, she's 12. Her sentence is sharks can have up to 10,000 teeth. Her second sentence, lemon sharks usually have bright yellow spots. And her third sentence, sharks can swim up to 20 miles per hour. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's at the bottom of this, the other sentence on the bottom here in a minute. This is Dahlia. She is 14, and her sentences were sharks have cartilage instead of bones. A shark pup grows in a mermaid bag, and a great white shark was voted ugliest shark because when it bites its prey, its eyes roll back in its head. One thing that I found very interesting with this group of children, it was all the way from 6 years old to 14, is that they were all capable of doing it. They all enjoyed doing it. But I found it very interesting that the older they got, the more elaborate their facts were. Our little friends here, Dylan and Colin and Wayne, it would have been a little bit more difficult for them to rewrite the fib. So we just read them orally, and then we talked about which one was the fib together, and they knew that blob sharks eat blobfish was the fib on that one. And then we talked about how we could turn that into a fact. So we could say blob sharks do not eat blobfish, or we could just change it to sharks could eat blobfish. Colin here, his fib was Mako sharks live in a fry. So he knew what the meaning of fry was, so I thought that was very cute that he used some of the vocabulary that he already knew and incorporated into his fib. Here we have Wayne, and he had some good facts and a fib. And then we're going to look at Anadora and Dahlia. And with our older students, it is recommended to have them swap papers, and then their partner will rewrite their fib and turn it into a fact. So Dahlia had Anadora's, and she said that lemonhead sharks usually have sandpapery skin. That is a fact that they learned from our book Sharks. And Dahlia had her paper with Anadora, and she wrote a shark pup grows inside of an egg that can be referred to as a mermaid purse. So that is also a fact. That was something they learned in the story. So they really enjoyed it. They learned a lot of facts, and they were able to share their information, and they were able to take what they learned and share it with their classmates. Another strategy that I wanted to share with you is called true or false. And the reason I'm sharing this strategy as well is because it's so closely related to facts and fibs, and the standards calls for students to grow their vocabularies through a mixture of conversations and direct instruction and reading. So I wanted to share this as well because I felt it was so closely related to my other strategy. And this particular strategy takes a word that a student doesn't know very much, and I'm going to show you this word here. This is no. The students that I worked with didn't know the meaning of no. And so what you would do if you were teaching this as in your classroom, you would divide your class in trios and assign each group a vocabulary word. And the word that I had used was no. And the group will need to research what that word means, and then they'll need to come up with two other meanings for this word that are not true. So it's kind of the opposite. You're going to have one fact and two fibs, or one definition and two fake definitions. So if you have a trio, you're going to have each one person write the definition, and the other two, as I stated, will write fake definitions. Each group writes the definition they think is correct on their whiteboard once they hear the meanings, and I'm going to show you what this group has here. No They came up with not sharp, no, a three-sided nail, or no, invalid, the value of 0. So that was the definitions and meanings that they came up for this word. So now you need to think about, what does the word no actually mean? So if you were with your class or your small groups, you would have their class take their whiteboards and they would write the definition on their whiteboard that they think it is. Would they write not sharp? Would they write a three-sided nail? Or would they write invalid? So if they got the answer correct, they would get a point. If they guessed correctly, they get a point, and if the group stumps the class, they got a point. So the group with the most points at the end wins. It's sort of like the game Balderdash, if you've ever played that. So this is a great strategy for teaching vocabulary, and this is more geared towards older students, probably 3rd grade and up, whereas our other reading strategy, facts and fibs, can be used anywhere from kindergarten all the way up, probably. I had worked with a student going into high school, so she will be a freshman, and she came up with a lot of facts and a good fib. So that strategy is great for all ages. But as with that strategy, you can choose whether you want to write it or say it, but make it your own and make it work for you and your class. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and have a great day.